Today is a Tuesday. Today is January 9th, 2024. And as we approach today's Brandon's World, I have one question to ask you. Are they cheating now? I said throughout the entire Michigan scandal, when they were 8-0, 9-0 when it came out, if Michigan was 4-4 or 5-3, or weren't clearly the best team in the country throughout the entire college football season, nobody would care about a cheating scandal. I said, you know how hard it is for coaches to steal signs, then relate those signs back to the players. Then the players communicate that, the play caller in the huddle communicates that to the other players on the team. All by the time the other team gets set to snap the ball. It is extremely difficult and will not cause a competitive advantage. Then Michigan proceeded to fire linebackers coach Connor Stallions, and they proceeded to still go undefeated and win the national championship because they had the best offensive line and they had the best defensive line in the country. And they were led by a senior quarterback in J.J. McCarthy, who went from a potential maybe day 2, potential day 3 pick in the NFL draft to a bona fide first-round talent. This Michigan team was driven in a similar way the Michael Jordan teams were driven, a la The Last Dance, because everybody in the world knows that was probably Jim Harbaugh's last game in Michigan. And it's fitting that in his last year, he had by far the most talented team he's ever had. And in a year where Ohio State was down, Penn State was not as good on the line of scrimmage, Alabama was not as good on the line of scrimmage. The competition came not from the SEC, but mostly from the Pac-12 with teams like Oregon, Washington, the Big 12 with teams like Texas, teams that don't run the football, teams that aren't physical, outside of Alabama, who gave, I think, Michigan the hardest game they played this season, even against Ohio State. And I said, listen, Washington's a great story. Michael Penix, he's a great quarterback. I cannot wait to see, depending on what system he goes to in the National Football League, I think he could be successful. They have a great head coach in Caleb DeVore. They have great offensive weapons, but they are built like a Pac-12 team. And the teams they beat, the good teams they beat this year, Oregon twice with Bo Nix, Texas with Quinn Ewers, they were built very similarly, though one obviously from the Pac-12, one from the Big 12. Aired do not focus a ton on the line of scrimmage. Michigan was the complete opposite. Run the ball, play action, wear your opponent down. And really, after they had 170 yards through the first couple plays in the first quarter last night, the game was mostly over. Michigan kind of went Washington, I felt, back in the ball game. It wasn't necessarily competitive close. You never really felt like Michigan was the competitive edge in the game. Michigan was the better team all season long. They should have won the game. And that would be very interesting to see what happens next year when teams like Oregon, USC, UCLA, Washington join the Big Ten to go with Michigan, who I assume will be with a new head coach and obviously will not have, the 15 or so starters that will be heading to the National Football League. They should be having a down year next year. Ohio State with a new quarterback will probably have a very good year, unlike many Ohio State fans. I still believe in Ryan Day as a head coach. And now we focus to Jim Harbaugh, who will go to the National Football League, I believe. Whether it will be to the Chargers or even potentially the Commanders, I don't see the Raiders because I think the Raiders are going to stick with Antonio Pierce. But I think that this ending for Jim Harbaugh is fitting for Michigan. Dominate the competition, go for adversity, get suspended not once but twice in a season. And yet Michigan still proved that no matter what, they were never really ever challenged all season long. Unlike many people, I congratulate Michigan. I congratulate Jim Harbaugh. Like that clip from the Brandon's World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brandon's World podcast right here on YouTube.